Today, we have one of our special panel episodes of Inspiring Women of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Hi, I'm Christina, the producer and host of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness, Interviews to Inspire. Welcome our guests, Sharman, Madhuri, and Joyce. And I am so excited to have these inspiring women with us today.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. My name is Sharman Monroe. Sharman, just like that item you buy in the grocery store. I'm a native Washingtonian. I'm a retired judge and lawyer and judge. I like to say it that way, lawyer and judge. And now I have my own business. I'm an entrepreneur where I love helping people save money any way that I can on bills that they pay every month.
Hi, this is Madhuri. I'm a passionate digital marketer and also a social media strategist. Having an experience of over 7 years of events, I'm also an entrepreneur and a destination wedding planner. I believe in living life at the edge and doing and exchanging hats and doing what is thriving inside me.
Well, Joyce Feustel, I like my name because it rhymes, but you have to say the Feustel the proper German way. So I've had that name for 52 years. I'm pretty attached to it. I work as a LinkedIn tutor and trainer, and I've done that for 11 years. I like to throw in the fact that I am 75 years old. So that's pretty cool at this stage in life to be rocking any career, really. And I'm very happy doing it. I help business owners and job seekers to really get their act together on LinkedIn, their LinkedIn profile, and then the functionality of LinkedIn. One of the reasons I like being an entrepreneur is because I have this opportunity to network within the business community here in Denver, Colorado, where I've lived since 1995. And it's so much fun to connect people to people and have that energy of the group, get the opportunity to be a leader within a group. Like Sharman, I come out of a Toastmasters background, which helps people learn leadership and communication skills. So it's really fun to apply those skills in my day-to-day life, owning my own business. And it's called Boomers, BOOMERS, Social Media Tutor. So I had something in common with both these ladies. The Toastmasters with Sharman and then the digital marketing with Madhuri.
Ladies, I'm so excited to just kind of delve in. What questions would you like to ask the other ladies?
I have a question for Madhuri. The question I have for you is, where do you get your drive from and how do you sustain it?
I am really high on energy and I like to, divide it parallelly to whatever, channelize it in a way so that, I can endorse it and probably avail the potential, the desire to the thriving power in me. I'm an enthusiast. I believe in innovation, creativity, meeting new people, learning about their lifestyle and trying to keep a balance between, because I'm a mother as well. So trying to be on toes day and night for my son. So creativity and innovation, keeping at par. And then secondly, nailing on to the networking and collaboration with people. I think that keeps my drive. That gives me more energy to connect with more people and also, the passion which I have to pursue as a lot of things I would like to do till the time I'm alive. I would like to do everything and do the exchanging hats of roles, which I mentioned in my last interview.
Okay, awesome.
I was curious, how old is your son?
My son is 4 years old.
Well, those pictures of him were simply adorable. And you with him, oh my gosh, they're so sweet to see the two of you together.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's all about, how we try to nurture and give them a good personal development and growth. So that's why I'm trying to exchange that so that, when he dwells into his future, he should know that there are a lot of opportunities ahead of him. And it's not that if you lose somewhere, you should not lose your heart out. There are a lot of things now for coming up for new generation, and they can explore a lot of plethora of opportunities. So I believe till the time we are keeping active, our son is seeing us. He's also going to keep a lot of energy in him, and he's really very, very active. In comparison to me, he's more active than me. And that is what I like, the drive in him. if he wants something, he knows that that's the passion and the drive is going to take him there. So trying to keep it, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Joyce, I have a question for Joyce. Joyce, I loved your interview. I like how you believe gratitude, giving, give more, just give. It will come back to you, maybe not the way you expect it, but it will come back to you. And in your giving, people appreciate that. And I really love that because I think the same way. Also, I wish we lived near each other so we could have coffee.
I know.
Because I believe that also. It took me a while to learn that because, as you're growing, it's all about me, me, me. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And it is something that arises later in life when you realize it's not all about the getting and the accumulating. It's about other people.
Thank you for saying that. And actually, as I mentioned in the interview, I really attribute a lot of my own generosity of spirit to my mother and father, who, when you live in a small town or even in a neighborhood, there's opportunities to be of service if you look for them. And so my parents were involved in the PTA, the parent teacher organization, in our church. My dad was an elected local official. My mom was on the library board. And this was 4 kids. This is in the 50s and 60s, and running a fairly major dairy farm operation. My dad and my uncle ran it together. So I grew up with that ethic of seeing that my parents and many other people, in the circles we ran in our small town. And then, even when I was in college, pretty young, I remember being the kid on the dorm floor who would go around and try to guilt trip people to giving blood at the blood drive, that type of thing. Or at my church, there was a Friday night dance for middle school kids, and they needed older people, like college kids were considered old enough to supervise these kids at the dance. So I'd go around trying to find people to do that. So I'm a natural recruiter of volunteers to, whatever I feel is my current kind of cause, if you will. So it actually goes back a long ways.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's a nice way to live.
Yeah.
And it's less stressful when you're giving as opposed to always finding ways to get from other people. That takes away so much stress.
Yeah, just life relaxes. My husband
that.
is like that too. My husband's my age, 75, and how he spends his time in retirement is he is a volunteer with hospice. So he'll sit with people who are dying to give the caregiver some respite. He will walk dogs for the animal shelter. He volunteers just simply as a companion and friend for a lady who's 98, whose only living child lives on the other side of Colorado. So he and our daughter will go over there every Tuesday and just hang out with Bobby as a friend. So it's really sweet to see the ways different people give back that fit their personality, fit their styles. I wanted to know, how did you get into Toastmasters? And if you want to tell people a little bit about that, if you would. Please.
Oh, yeah. I love your interview about Toastmasters. Mm-hmm. When I don't say I retired, when I quit working as a judge to pursue what I wanted to do, I thought Toastmasters would be a good way for me to learn how to speak. When you're a judge, you're not doing that much talking in the courtroom. Other people are doing the talking. You're not doing the talking. So now I'm out here, I'm being an entrepreneur. I have to put myself out there. Hello, do that when you go to networking events. And I thought Toastmasters would be a good way for me to learn how to do that. But I got more out of Toastmasters than I expected. I learned leadership skills. I did not know that. I thought you were just going there to learn how to speak without stuttering and go, all the time. But I learned leadership skills. I served as the vice president of public relations, then the president, and then the vice president of education. And all of those roles have different things to do in the club. And being vice president of education, what I learned was how to lead a group without pushing, without the whip. because it was my job as a vice president of education to make sure people did what they needed to do in the curriculum so that so they can learn what they wanted to learn, get out of the club what they wanted to get out of the club, but also so that the club could get awards through Toastmasters, because you get awards if you do certain activities. And so it was a lot of calling people on the phone. Now, I see you signed up for this. What do you plan to do for the next couple of weeks? Which projects are you going to do? And keep going and just keep after people. And I'm here. I can help you. I made videos and I loaded them up. We had a Google sheet. And our club, the top award is President's Award.
Yeah, President's Distinguished.
We got the second one. We got the second highest.
Select is still pretty good.
Yeah, we got the second highest. That was the second high. And we were so excited. So I learned how to motivate people, not with the whip, which is a lot of leaders don't understand there's a difference. There is a difference in motivating people to keep moving. And that excited them for the next year coming up. They wanted to do better the next year coming up. But it was a lot of work. But I learned leadership skills and I was very surprised. I didn't know Toastmasters taught you leadership.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, yeah, they don't. They don't. It teaches you leadership skills.
And I want to switch over to Madhuri and ask about going back to your wedding business. So I was reading in your LinkedIn profile how you have your wedding vows. What's the name? But is it mostly weddings and then also other events? And then you put it on pause, and that's when you got into your digital marketing, right? And then I just was curious, well, maybe how you even started out with that. Did you do it before you got married yourself? That's kind of a personal question, I guess. But and then how did you kind of circle back to it?
See, I started this before my marriage. I was a destination planner, and it was a mere dream. I was already working as an event planner in an organization, and I used to do I was behind the table. I used to organize the events for them. I used to invite the wedding planners there to meet up. It was a tabletop format event. I got a really thriving thing in me that, why I can't switch table and, why I can't be on the other side. That was a dream fetched. And I don't know, somehow I started working towards it. Gradually, in the organization where I was working, my boss used to really support me, and he empowered me that, you can actually pursue your dream if you actually have a vision that you can take up your own business. So that support and that little motivation and strength was required at that point of time, because I was working for an organization as an employee. So turning my thoughts into being an employer and, having my own business, being an entrepreneur, I thought of starting up with the events. So my first event was a very, very small wedding. That was a domestic helper. She used to work for us, and it was her daughter's wedding. I started from that sort. So taking up to all, it was just like a chalk and cheese in initial stage. But yes, I gradually, grabbed it on because I wanted to explore what are the creativity and innovation strategies which I can enthrall upon to get into this project and get a detailed one and make it a success. So it was a really heart-wrenching moment for me to switch roles. My family was really against it. They were not supporting me to do my own business. They were wanting me to continue my job. So it was really a task for me to convince them and start my own thing. But eventually I made it. I made it through with my zen and passion and the enthusiasm I had. And it was a happy client story, successful client story, which really empowered me that, if I can do this, then why not something else? Why not more? So I started taking up more projects. It was based on recommendations and referrals. And then I switched on to a long game of website and having a digital space, online media marketing. And I entered into the marketing space, letting people know about my brand, my name. I started dividing it parallelly to the other events as well, because wedding has a season in India. It has a quarter towards the end. It starts around October, November, December. These are the 3 months which, we have heavy footfall of wedding clients. Apart from this, if annually I like to, earn an income, I was dividing it parallelly with the corporate events. Corporate, wherein I mentioned MICE, which defines as meetings, incentives, and exhibitions. So these were the corporate events I used to cater to with Big Four companies and with other corporate and FMCG brands, which I used to. They were all tailor made. Either they were incentive travel programs for companies, or they were meetings or exhibitions and trade exhibitions held for business leaders or for management companies or for financial and tech companies. Now, since AI has taken it over, so there are more and more AI and digital savvy companies which are really expanding into the exhibition sector. So these were the, track openers for me to enthrall upon for the other part of the annual season wherein I was not catering to weddings. So starting from the domestic weddings, I catered into destination weddings, and I expanded to international destinations, catering to Turkey, catering to Thailand, catering to Dubai. So these were few of my top-notch locations, which I, thought of executing the plans, having the DMCs coordinated, and used to work with local DMCs. DMCs are basically destination management companies, which are working in association with the wedding planning companies wherever the project is getting executed in particular location. Like if Dubai is my destination, then I used to work with the local DMCs there for my decor and other things. So this is how I thought of, used to, this was my functional cycle, and I expanded it for around 7.5 years. After that, I got married. It was an arranged marriage, and post that there was a lot of things where I had to invest my energy and time, and I was not able to divide that parallelly with my business, because that initial stages of marriage, as I said, I requires a lot of time and attention and communication factor. So I was not able to divide it, and I thought of switching roles and becoming a digital marketer at that point of time. So I changed my line. I became a digital marketer, started working with various universities and other brands existing in the market as a digital marketer. But nevertheless, the drive in me for executing the events, probably per se as destination weddings, kept on installing, kept on knocking me from inside. And, that passion, when you have it inside you, you have been on the other side of the table. You have done that, controlled it, led it in a way that you've led a team, you've worked in a way, you've handled so many big projects. So when you reach at that particular stage, it is very difficult for you to stay stigmatic in one cubicle and work for a single brand. So that was something which was haunting me inside, and I was always looking for the vertical growth. So whenever I think that there is no vertical growth, I used to step out. At that point of time, it struck me hard, and this last year only, I was working for a brand, and I just had quit, and I thought of resuming my own brand again and giving it one more attempt. So I'm trying to fetch more leads, fetch more recommendations based on references. I've not started my website yet because it got hacked, but yes, I'm trying to lead it in a more positive way.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Bad about your website. Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is not fun. That is not fun.
So I'm going to presume, and we can switch around to the rest of us here too, but that your husband must be pretty much on board with what your drive is and your career ambitions. And that's, mine has been. I know, and actually, even when I was what I'd call a home mom, my girls were born in 1980 and 1984. I stayed at home for a long time, but I was very involved with the League of Women Voters. Maybe if something like that in India promotes women's involvement in voting and government and other organizations when I was a home mom. And the husband was always like, go for it, honey. Even when I ran for political office myself, which is not easy to do, he was for that. So I think it's not to say he has to give me permission per se, but I think it's important when there's respect, for each other as a married couple in terms of the way you pursue, your dreams.
Yes, that is, I think, really very important because,
yes, very important.
Even emotional intimacy and emotional quotient really matters a lot in any kind of a relationship, be it a marriage or be it, a live-in relation or be it a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Because if I would like to say I would really like to take that credit that my husband has been, had a clear mind and a vision, and he has always given me a room to explain myself and to give, wings to whatever dreams I have. He has supported me, and even in my thick and thin, he has really supported me, and he has known that there is a drive in her, she can do it. And when that motivation and encouragement comes from him, it gives me more push, it gives me more drive that yes, I can do it. But yeah, there is one thing which keeps on haunting me for ladder, that my son is going to suffer, because if I'm not available for longer period of time, I think he's the one who misses me the most, and he really wants me to be around. And even I don't want to miss this phase, because there is no returning of this phase. So I would like to divide it parallelly, and keeping in mind that my husband has been very supportive, because his job is just like 15 days he has to work. He's working at the international airport, and he has 15 days off in a month. So we are able to balance it out in a way, and trying to take up projects whenever he is available.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Nice. Look, nice work schedule. Work schedule as far as having work-life balance, family and work balance. It's both.
Yes.
As far as you have that. That having a supportive spouse was not an issue for me, because by the time I started doing when I left my job, because I quit, came to work one day, packed my box, quit. So I'm going to do something else. He had already passed away. So we had been divorced, and he had already passed away. So that never factored in. What I did do was, before I quit, I talked to my kids. See, they were adults by that time. And I was like, I've been working for a long time. I think I want to go out and pursue and have my own business. And my kids were like, Mom, ever since we've known you, you've had a job. If you don't want to work anymore, come on home and do what you want to do. So I came home.
Yeah.
What I want to do.
Lucky in that area, because understanding really matters. If your child understands you, I think nothing can beat that.
Yeah, and it did mean a lot to me. It wasn't like, well, how you gonna pay for this? How you gonna pay for that? They were like, Mom, if you want to come home and have your own business, then come on and do it.
How long ago was that then, Sharman?
2008. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving 2008. I packed my box and I said, and it was a Friday. So I packed my box and I told everybody, have a good weekend. Bye. And I didn't come to work on Monday, and they thought I was working from home. It took them a couple of days to realize, oh my gosh, she's gone. But the supervisor knew, because I had to give him a letter of resignation, but it didn't click that I was no longer working there. It didn't click. In a way that was good. That was good, because I just packed my box, said bye. I'm going to do something else. Not going to practice law anymore. And it worked out fine. It's worked out fine. I am a Christian, and one of my best friends was my Bible school teacher and my Bible studies teacher, and she would always say, "You're like Peter walking on water. You don't know what's going to happen the next day." I'm like, okay, I can take that. And she said, "You're just out here walking on water." I'm like, yeah, okay.
Hey, I have something about walking. I'm going to spin off on that. So you talked about you're walking for miles at a time. Okay, I'm going to fess up something. Two things. Until like 2 days ago, I never walked by myself, because I have these two big dogs.
Okay.
So my husband walks them in the morning, and he walks them, or we have two big dogs, and he walks them around the lunch hour. Then I always walk them late afternoon. And do I ever take time just go out for just a little walk by myself? No. And I watched your video over the weekend, and on Sunday, I went out for a mile-long walk. Okay. And then I've had some issues with my knees and my shins. So, I mean, I have some health challenges, but I could walk for a mile. And I did earlier this morning. So I wanted to tell you that you've inspired me to walk.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I
am so glad. I am so glad. I have not been able to walk since about September 15th because they're doing my house is being renovated. And I got work crews. They 7 in the morning, ringing the doorbell, and work crews are in the house. And so I need to be in the house. I have to watch my cats to make sure my cat stays in one room while the crew is working. But it's the good thing about it, it's the same crew, and now they watch after the cat. Like, we close your cats in that room over there. And so that's good to know. And trust is built up. So now I'm at the point they're doing touch-ups. I can give them the keys, like, I'm not going to be here. Come on in, then bring me the keys back. So now they're doing the touch-up work that needs to be done.
Oh, good.
But I missed walking. I miss the walking, going out, because the leaves are changing colors here now.
It is so pretty, yeah.
And it's so pretty. Yeah, and the weather's just right. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. It's just right.
And I wanted to tell you that my Aunt Roseanne, until probably her early 90s, would walk 3 miles a day, every day. I mean, that was just really important part of her routine.
Yeah, it's once you get used to the 3 miles, it's like, if I do a 1 mile, I'm angry because it's not 3. I've gotten used to that distance. And I do walk in the neighborhood in different routes for safety reasons.
I thought that was a good point you made.
Yeah, at different times of the day. And I have a picture of one house. I don't know if they did it this year, but in October, they have about 15 steps leading up to their house, and they have a different color pumpkin on each step. So I see things like that. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And I love seeing things like that.
So fun.
Madhuri, do you have questions for the ladies?
Yes. So the first one, Sharman, I would like to ask that how do you define success for yourself and over the period, the skills required for the success, and has the definition evolved over the period?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked me that question, because that's the chapter in my next book. That's the last one I have to do. The name of it is Define Success. And I have what I wanted to say, but I have to sit down and write it. Of course, when I was younger, success was the job with the big title and the 6-figure income and the big car. That was success. But now that and one of the things I had to do when I was no longer a judge was find out who I am, because that title carried a lot of weight. And so and that's how I started my blog. I would just write down things I was learning, like, who am I? Who am I? And what I've learned is that success, I determine what my success is, not everybody else, not society. I determine what success is for me. And once I reach that, like, I'm happy because I did it. What was one of the things that I did I started last year. Been in this house like 40 years, got this old carpet, and one day you look at it and you're like, okay, you got to go. So I watch a lot of HGTV, and I'm like, I think I can lay floors. So I started pulling up the rugs in one room at a time, section by section, and I laid down floor. And so I did the hallway, the living room, and the dining room. That was success for me, because I was like, okay, let's go out and let's try it. And people come in like, wow, these are beautiful. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, I love it. I love it. So success to me, as you said, it has evolved, and it may be something different. For 3 months, the success may be, okay, this is my goal. Okay, I reached it, success. Okay, now let's make another goal, because that's how we live life anyway. One goal after another, after another, after another, after another, and build on your skill set, build on what it is that know how to do, and just add to it and take it another step further. I think that's success. I'm really into personal development. I've been a student for like 20 years, and that's what I learned in personal development. When my mentor first told me about personal development, he recommended a book, and I didn't know him. We just started our mentoring relationship, and I just kind of smiled. And I'm like, doesn't this guy know I have 2 degrees? I don't need personal development. But then I read a book that the title caught my attention. And I found out that personal development is not like education. Personal development teaches you how to think, how to interact with other people. It grows you as a person. And I consider that a success for me that I've been studying and applying for over 20 years. And I took the extra step of starting a book club. And that's all we read of personal development books. It's personal development or business development. And the rule is you have to take 1 or 2 things that you learn from the book and make it part of your everyday life. And that way you continue to grow. And I see that book club as a success because I think we're going into our this is the end of the 3rd year and we're still going strong.
You still want to mention any skill which is required, essential for success in your industry?
The skill that I had to learn was how to be an effective communicator when talking to people. As I said, when I was a judge, I don't have to be nice. You tell the lawyer what to do. And they either do it or they don't. You don't have to be diplomatic. You don't have to put the candy out there and lead them down. You just tell them to do, and they do. I had to learn how to communicate with people and be effective. And that's what I need in my business, how to reach out to people, how to accept the no. You know how it is in business. You get the no. Now, what are you going to do when you get the no? Are you going to like, well, I'm not going to call you anymore, Joyce, bye, and slam the phone down? That's not good. You have to present a different face when you're dealing with people because everybody is going through something that you don't know about. You may be calling them just at the wrong time. So that's why you got the no. So you have to learn how to, okay, Joyce, all right, I hear you. This is not, can I give you a call in 3 months? Would that be good for you? And that's the biggest skill I had to learn to be successful in my business, how to talk to and with people and how to listen. That's hard for me because I like to keep the conversation going, but I have to learn to bite my tongue and let Joyce talk. Let Christina talk because in their talking, they're going to tell me something that maybe I didn't know before. And I wouldn't have gotten it if I kept on blah, 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 and asking a lot of questions. So sometimes I actually hear myself, I will say to myself, Sharman, shut up.
But the skills I think you have mentioned are really going to be an asset for people to, excel in whatever industry they are into.
It is.
Communication is really required in any industry per se.
Yes, the people skills, those soft skills. Yeah. School gives you the hard skills, but they don't teach you the soft skills.
Yeah. Correct. Okay, so my question to Joyce is, since you've mentioned a lot about gratitude in your interview, and even I was really, completely overwhelmed about your perception and about how you pursue things in life. So my question to you is that what is the most excited thing about, for your future? How do you approach setting and achieving a long-term goal?
Sometimes at age 75, I feel like, I could just hang it up anytime. Why am I even still out there? I think one of the most exciting things for me, well, a couple of things come to mind, is when I stretch myself, even as something as simple as creating a video, which it took me like 7 or 8 tries to create a 1-minute video and be able to put it up on Dropbox so that then this guy who has invited me to do a training on LinkedIn could include that video in his LinkedIn post about this upcoming workshop. Some people say, oh, big deal. No, it is for me. And I'm even a Toastmaster all those years, but still it's to have the gumption to sit here and make that by myself, that I feel excited when something as simple as that happens. Also, I think when I see people, especially the 55, 60 and up crowd, and really they're out there, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Instagram, and there they are when before they weren't there. And to see them and just rocking their social media, it's heart, I don't know if exciting is quite the word, but it's very heartwarming and just so satisfying to see that happen. So when I think of future, I think of getting to meet people like you from other parts of the world. That would be exciting. I have a new client who's originally from Nigeria, lives in Aberdeen, Scotland, and I met her, get this, Sharman, through Toastmasters. Because this gal, mother of three, very busy person, wanted to be in Toastmasters, but the club in Aberdeen, Scotland, the night it met, she couldn't go. So a lot of Toastmasters meetings now are what are called hybrid. So there's people in person and then people come in through, say, Zoom like this, right? So somehow she connected with this club out of Calgary, Alberta, if you know kind of that part of the country at all. And someone who is a leader within the club, I had met through Toastmasters through a speech I gave to an online club. So she's connected me with this gal in Scotland, and she knows that maybe finances might be an issue. So she, the Canadian gal from Calgary, said, I'll pay for her session, which is so then I'm talking to this Ola yesterday, and she's like mid 40s, I think, 45, she said. And she's so gracious and so grateful that she's going to get my time and that Marcy's going to help out. And even though I help a lot of people who are older, it's exciting for me to help the youngers too, and to help them see LinkedIn in different ways than they had thought about it. So I find LinkedIn kind of interesting because it seems almost like, to use maybe an odd word, but age agnostic. It's like you can say Instagram. So you've been on maybe you're on Instagram, just looking at your age. That people, like I'm on Instagram, kind of, but I don't know it that well. Facebook, you see mostly older people nowadays on Facebook, right? But LinkedIn, almost everybody could use LinkedIn, but a lot of people never go there because they don't have to. You know, they got their job, they're set. Why would they bother? But to see then her as a job seeker and making some changes herself, going into digital marketing, actually, I should connect you two ladies. Anyway, it was really fun to see how far we got, even in like 20 minutes, just kind of an introductory free consult. It was like, whoa. And she just wrote me the sweetest note, something like, things are more clear to me now, or something. It was very simple, but it was profound to me to get that kind of feedback. So I guess that's kind of a roundabout way to answer your question. So the more I can do that kind of thing, the happier I'll be.
Very nicely answered. Just one more thing which I wanted to understand, because I approached you earlier also for one of the conversations and on LinkedIn, talking about the LinkedIn growth. How do you foster a culture? Do you have a team working with you, or it's only you working on a single project? Like, how do you find your mentors, or probably how do you guide other people, just to mentor them on digital space, have a good growth, probably on LinkedIn professionally, because Instagram is more casual and informal, but LinkedIn is more professional. So to knit and to get more followers, how do you foster? Is there a culture of creativity or innovation in your team or organization, or it's just that you leading the innovation factor or finding members, or you guide people? Like, how do you do it?
It's a really good question, and it's very complex in a way. I mean, one of the most important things I think about any social media, but we'll just talk about LinkedIn now, is to find your voice. I mean, Toastmasters help with that. I've directed a lot of people actually to Toastmasters for various reasons. And one of them is to know who you are. So I once thought I was going to be a teacher. Like my mother was a teacher, my grandpa was a teacher. I'm born in 1948. And what did girls do who graduated high school in 1967 and that era? They became nurses, teachers, etc. So where I'm going with this is that even though I washed out very quickly as a teacher because it wasn't a good fit for me, I am hardwired as an educator. Educator is a very broad term. So my voice on LinkedIn is kind of like the nice teacher voice, the friendly teacher voice, the teacher whose class you look forward to going to, who wasn't going to be hard on you, who was going to help you grow. And that's my style. That's the way I write. So I think that's one way to keep, just write and look at yourself and see, was that really me? Or do little videos, just do a Zoom video of yourself and say, okay, what do you think of that? And then go and see other people you admire, authors of books, like you talked about the personal development work you've done, Sharman. So maybe there's somebody who is an author you admire. So go and look at their LinkedIn. Now, maybe they have a helper possibly, writing it for them, but how do they come across? I know when I was first involved with LinkedIn back in the late 2000s, I got involved with the Toastmasters International group that was on LinkedIn. And there were people there that were mentors to me in various aspects of being a Toastmaster and just kind of life in general. So I also say look to other people and their styles and how they work and kind of pick up what you like and leave the rest. That's another way to do it. And also, sometimes I think people overthink stuff. They think you have to, and they think because they see their children, their grandchildren, all the time on the phone. I'm not doing my hands right, but the point is that a little bit of posting on LinkedIn can go a long ways, depending on your field. Once a week, post. Twice a week, comment on other people's posts. I think people will hold themselves back because they think they have to be perfect. But we all make mistakes. You just start out where you're at and just take it from there. So those are some general pieces of advice I give. Now, I don't work in a corporate world. I don't work with teams usually. So it's a little easier because it's just me and the entrepreneur or me and the job seeker helping them to find out, just the best way to do it. And I will say, I feel very grateful that I'm almost gifted in a way to take, say, somebody's about section and just reconfigure it. And I was an English major and I've written and edited myself for years. So I fall into that. I use those skills. And those are just some thoughts that I have on it. I'm glad you asked it just like you did. And we'll definitely, both you ladies, I want to talk further with you one-on-one for sure.
I told you this was a wonderful group of ladies. You ladies are all so amazingly energetic. And again, I watch all these steps in the careers of like, okay, I'm going this way. That feels good. But you know what? We could do this and we could do this. And the energy that comes from all of you is incredible. And my question to all of you is, what is one of your favorite successes in your career?
Oh, okay. I have it. I have it in my career. And I forget about it, and people have to remind me because I just did it because it had to be done. I had both of my kids while I was in law school. When I started law school, my daughter was 2 weeks old. Then my son was born at the end of second year. I graduated in 3 years. Don't ask me how I'm at home studying, reading 150 pages worth of text and what we call briefing it, which is writing a synopsis for each case that you read. Don't ask me how I did. I don't know. All I know is that I did it. And that was a big success for me. That was huge. My mother-in-law was like, you need to write to school and tell them you'll be there in 18 years when your kids are grown. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. When you get in, you come or you don't come. But I did it. I can't tell you how I did it, but I had 2 kids, graduated, walked the stage with 2 children under 2 years old when I graduated from law school.
Wow.
I have to remind myself. I think as you get older, you've done so much, you forget some of the things you've done. And my business partners will remind me of that. In fact, it was when I started my business and I took the ESQ, the Esquire off my name, one of my female business partners, she said, "Girl, you work too hard for that. Put it back. Put it back." And so I put it back.
Yeah, it's like having an MD or something. Why would you drop that? Heck yeah.
Because I think I'm going down another avenue. But you're right, doctors, they will go another avenue, but they never drop the MD. They never drop it. And the PhD, they never drop it.
No.
Yep. So I put it back.
For me, success is, adaptability is the key. The world is really evolving fast, and being open to learning, adjusting, keeps me relevant and, pretty capable of handling change. For me, I would say, not in a very, big way, but success is a blend of impact, growth, and resilience. It's about, inspiring confidence in others, especially the youth, and encouraging them to chase their dreams with a never die attitude. I believe success is not just about reaching the top. I think it's How about lifting other people along the way and building strong relationships and remaining true to your values? Whether it's increasing engagement, probably for brands or marketing, or building connections with with the people around you, exploring the right opportunities. I think that's what sets an example as a confident leader and a dedicated parent as well. So I measure success by the very positive influence, and I leave behind, continuous pursuit of personal and professional growth. I think, uh, jargon of language, I just believe that, how eventually you will take your life. If you think that you are a failure, you won't be able to, redo the part you wanted to do as a successful person. So I want to take up on those opportunities and, redo them if I failed. So for me, success is, the never die attitude.
This may sound strange, but what immediately came to mind is I was a junior in college. This is at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, Wisconsin. It's 1969. The Vietnam War was in full force. There were people protesting in the streets. My own sister was a freshman that year. She was protesting in the streets. I'm not an activist in that type of way. I would write letters to the editor, maybe to my hometown paper. But what a curious thing happened. A lady from the church I went to asked me if I'd like to be part of a pilot group of upperclassmen, juniors and seniors at the college, to be kind of an adjunct to the faculty members for the young students, the freshmen and sophomores, that didn't have a declared major, so they didn't have an advisor, right? Well, they got to pick their classes. And this is long before computers and other things could help with that. It was all, way old-fashioned ways. So we would sit with these younger students and find out what classes they needed and how to kind of pull a calendar together, a schedule together. Well, wouldn't you know it, almost immediately they would say how they hated the calendar of the college at the time. So the University of Wisconsin-Madison had a different calendar than all the other, I'll call them the state schools that used to be teacher colleges. So at any rate, we didn't start our semester in the fall until after Labor Day. So you've lived in the US, right? Madhuri, you know the schedule. I mean, a little bit about the US. So anyway, so the colleges would start after Labor Day. You wouldn't have your finals until after Christmas. So you'd be spending your Christmas holiday studying for these finals. And then you have 2 weeks in Wisconsin, which is cold. And what are you going to do for 2 weeks? Ride snowmobiles for 2 weeks? At any rate, so then we wouldn't get out into June, and all the state schools would have already gotten out and they'd gotten the better jobs. So you start to get this picture here. So our group of students who initially just came on to be student academic advisors kind of created our own rump group. And we started calling and writing to colleges around the USA to find out about alternatives. And in the end, we said, no, the semester system is okay, but we should start earlier. So we put together a proposal and we took it to the chancellor of the University of Wisconsin in Madison and said, you should appoint, Mr. Chancellor, a faculty student committee. It shouldn't all be faculty. There could be as many faculty as you want, but there should be at least 2 students on that committee, and research this, put your resources behind it, see if our idea might work. And I got to be one of those 2 students in my senior year, in my first semester senior year. Can you imagine what a heady experience that was? And I believe I might have been the only girl in the whole room. I'm guessing. I know the other student was a guy. And you know what? That student faculty committee agreed with us, 6 students, took it to the faculty senate. They agreed, the board of regents agreed, and the calendar was changed. So what that experience taught me is you can make a change from within. With a good enough argument and good enough research, you can convince the powers that be to change something really big, like a calendar. And that forevermore influenced how I look at things. That I think, isn't there a way to make a change that could improve this? And, I admire the people that march in the streets. I admire the activists, all those people. Everybody has their own gifts, their own roles to play. So I think back, I even wrote a chapter for a book, 3 of the gutsiest things I ever did. And one of them was that experience. Yeah, it was really fun to actually formally put that story into words, along with starting my own business. And running for a political office when I was 30 31, maybe, was it? Yeah, ran for office in 1980, when women didn't run for office too much in that era, especially just, I guess, in general in that time. So
your experience also reminded me of one of my very closest experience in being a destination wedding planner. For us, a successful event is what is called a successful event is delivering a flawless event, managing to stay within the budget.
yeah,
that is what exceeding the expectations of a client. So I think for me as a wedding planner, doing everything timely and within the budget is a successful event for me. And I think that is what when I can connect it emotionally with the bride and groom, because these memories do not have any retakes. So I really want to have an experiential kind of a wedding if I would like to give it to my client. And similarly for my MICE events, if I would organize any trade exhibition or incentive travel program, I make sure that I have EQ games associated with it. I have a good anchor associated in which, they can start and incorporate an innovative thinking and exchange of thoughts, a positive exchange of thoughts. So I think for me, when a client is satisfied, people are happy. The happy key takeaways and positive affirmations is kind of a successful story for my writing book. So that's giving me more power and, just to explore more people and understand and network with more people.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's a great question.
And it's interesting when we're talking about success, this is a beautiful room, even though it's Zoom rooms, of success right here. I had a client once of mine say, I write a list of 10 things that I'm going to get done. And if I get one checked off a day, that's my success, because we have so many things to do in our lives. But as long as we get something checked off, there is success. So the fact that you are all here spending this time getting to meet each other and sharing your stories, that is part of my success today. That's what I'm going to share. So thank you for joining us today. And ladies, what are your last thoughts?
If somebody says to you, hey, I see this in you, like my manager said, have you ever thought of having other people in your baby boomer generation to understand social media like you do? Have you ever thought of those people? You could help them because they're going to relate to you. Listen up. People see things in you that you don't see in yourself. So I think that's the big, in my lifetime, that's something I've noticed is that's come up more than once.
Crafting everything thoughtfully and impactfully in a short message, I would say that, from capturing your unique approach to success, creating probably engaging responses for LinkedIn, or sharing a memorable wedding client success story. Each step is focused on enhancing your personal brand. So I think showcase your values, your experiences, and the dedication you bring to every project. Make your day, shine bright and bring vision to your perception and influence other people to life, because, you always write one story at a time. So believe in your story, believe in yourself. I would not say be you. I would just say be adaptable, change as and when it is required. Although change is inevitable, but try to change with the situations and be water.
Mm-hmm. Be water. I like that. Be water.
Be water. Yeah.
Yes. What I would like to leave all the listeners with is that success is never done. Keep getting better, because you can, even if you think you can't. Keep getting better. Even if it's just one thing a week, keep getting better. Your time here is not done until you close your eyes for the last time. It has nothing to do with age. Joyce tells you how old she is. I'm 68. I'm a great grandmother. But I enjoy learning. Become a lifelong learner. Keep growing. Keep growing. Try things new. That's what I want to leave your listeners with.
And Christina, there is one word which I would like to, mention for you exclusively, because you always bring on the table something really, outstage, and which adds value to everyday routine, or probably adds value to my perception. So your interviews and panel discussions is really I'm thriving on to, and I would like to continue this, because it gives me a broader vision to understand cultural differences, thoughts and perceptions, or probably, how innovation a community can bring into. So you're bringing in that charm in the community, and you're making me, experience a good chat conversation with people across the globe. So it's thank you to you. A big thank you for always getting me on panel and giving me a chance to explore new people and network with people.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
She's doing a great job.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ladies. That means you don't know what that means. The world is just a small portion. It means the universe to me. Thank you so much for that. Oh, and I want to thank you, Sharman, Madhuri, and Joyce, for being here today, and all of our viewers and our listeners for tuning in to these amazing ladies, these inspiring women of health, wealth, and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inspiring Women of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness, Interviews to Inspire. I'm producer and host, Christina.